ગ્લોબલ માર્કેટના ફ્રન્ટ ઉપરના જે આપણને સિનારીઓ દેખાઈ રહ્યા છે અને છેલ્લા બે ટ્રેડિંગ સેશનથી આપણે જેના ઉપર વધારે ઇમ્પેક્ટ નેગેટિવલી પ્લે આઉટ થતી જોઈ રહ્યા છે એ ગ્લોબલ માર્કેટ્સને સમજવા માટેની વાત કરીએ. એક્ઝામ હાઉસના સીઈઓ પીટર મેકવાયર આપણી સાથે જોડાઈ રહ્યા છે. Megwai, good morning. First of all, we need to know about what kind of scenario we can see or expect from the Russia and Ukraine crisis. As far as we've seen the steady US market showing us relief on the this kind of global geopolitical front. What is your view?
Well, I think it's quite a complex view because it seems to be changing each and every day as far as the rhetoric and the market interpretation. If you're looking at gold, for example, we've been bid up significantly. We're at nearly $1,880 for gold. So that's a barometer to demonstrate the geopolitical tensions that the world is believing there could be with the risk premium built into gold, oil, and a number of other major commodities.
Okay. And one more thing, as well as we've seen Russia-Ukraine tension still keeping oil prices on edge, what kind of scenario we can expect from this kind of scenario on the commodity market?
Well, I think that you're going to see further increase as far as crude oil. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of dollars added on over the next couple of days because of the risk premium, unless everything unwinds with Ukraine and Russia. So there's the first point. The second point is we've got gold sitting at 1880. So it's had a tremendous move in the last week. And oil prices are up nearly 40% in the last 2 months. So from middle of December, we were at 70. Here we are at 96. So we're nearly 40% increase. It's just dramatic.
Right. But Mr. McGuire, one more thing about on US market scenario. As far as we've seen in the last week, we are seeing on the higher inflation side, and we expected that Fed will react on something on very harshly on the interest rate side. Then we've seen slide in US market. As far as our market or Asian markets, emerging market scenario is watching out from the Fed, is that what kind of interest rate rising we expect on the 50 basis point or directly 1%? What kind of expectation you are making from the Fed? Because of as far as Fed reaction on the inflation side is very much on the lighter side. They expect on 25 or 50 basis point hike in March policy, not more than that. But market anticipating more than that. What kind of expectation you seen from the Fed?
I believe that we will see a 25 basis point raise, though many traders and analysts are believing now that we'll see 50 points. Now, the critical issue is that there are 6, maybe 7 rate rises tipped for 2022. So every month there should be a rate rise. And we've got another issue, which are the midterm elections. So it looks like the Republicans will handsomely win that in November, which will stop government spending in its tracks. And this is going to cause, I think, a contraction as far as US economy and in some ways global economy with raising interest rates. So it's a very fine line, and it's a very I'm not saying dangerous point, but it's a time and place that central bankers have got to be very cognizant of what's ahead and what's behind.
Okay. One more and last question, Peter, is that are we saying about Russia and Ukraine crisis as far as we've seen Russian economic condition, as far as European economic conditions, or even US economic condition? Do we expect any kind of war kind of scenario any country can afford it?
Well, no country really wants to go to war. And the issue, I don't think any country wants to go to war, and I'm very sure that the world's population doesn't want to go to war. So the issue at the moment is, what's the story with Ukraine? Where's Russia sit with all of this? And are there other foreign actors trying to create a story or create something? So there's the situation that I think a lot of traders are looking at, and they're worried about economic growth, they're worried about equity markets, they're worried about the overall issue facing that Ukraine-Russia situation. And it might blow over, and we hope for the world's population, we don't want it to escalate into a kinetic war.
Okay. So one more thing on Peter on this answer. What kind of reaction we can expect in next week, 1 week from the global market, as far as we've seen, if the overall the stress is going on downside, or the both countries are ready to in talks with peace talks. So can we expect a major bounce back in global market, or again we are forcing on lower liquidity side?
I think you'll see a bounce. That's a lot of ifs, but because we've got to see a piecemeal or something bringing them together, and that will take the risk premium out of gold. It'll take the risk premium out of crude oil to some extent, and maybe you could see equity markets bounce to the upside and emerging markets. But there's a lot of things to happen to get to that point, and I haven't got a crystal ball, and it's too difficult to speculate. It's something that traders need to be very conscious of each and every hour of every day's trade.